Great D by Puerto Rico.
40 players.
Every player in the Team USA huddle received a high five, with the exception of one, and the cameras caught it all. Before turning away, Caitlin Clark gave love to everyone, as though she didn't see Angel Reese's extended hand. The internet exploded right away. Fans went to fight with one another. And all of a sudden, 30 seconds of game footage caused everyone to have strong opinions. Please provide your honest opinion in the space provided below regarding whether Caitlin Clark purposefully rejected Angel Reese's offer, or if those seeking scandal exaggerated the whole issue. Since they are entirely different topics, let's be honest and look at what actually happened as opposed to what others interpreted it to mean.
Angel Reese is trying to high-five her. Nothing happens. Like, she high-fives the last person and just turns her head. So by the time Angel has lifted her hand, Caitlin is not looking. Caitlin is not looking here.
During Team USA's match against Puerto Rico, Caitlin Clark proceeded down the line to offer her teammates high fives as part of the customary post-game gratitude that follows every basketball game at every competitive level, from youth leagues to international play. You nod to each other, tap hands, and carry on because it's a completely normal behavior that most people are unaware of. This time was different because Angel re-extended her hand as Clark turned to face her, rather than stopping down, turning around, or glancing back to complete the exchange later. Without receiving anything in return, Angel Reese stood there extending her hand. The entire exchange was captured on camera. The video appeared on every site in a matter of minutes, showing up on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, music, and any other platform that thrives on sports controversy, with comments pouring in before the majority of people had had a chance to watch it. Supporters of Caitlin Clark believed that the reaction was justified. Fans of Angel Reese said it was rude. According to casual onlookers, it exposed significant underlying issues. Devoted supporters of women's basketball said that everyone was exaggerating. Music, the real basketball game being played in an FIA World Cup qualifying competition, was momentarily overshadowed by all of the commotion.
If it was the case, people would be making a big deal. Yes, they would. Absolutely. People were making a big deal about Angel looking her off and this being like Caitlin's get back for Angel looking her off. At the end of the day,
when you take into account that Caitlin Clark led the entire team in points, assists, and plus-minus ratings while Angel contributed on the boards and carried out her duties, the situation becomes astounding. Team USA was going on an undefeated qualifying run. The squad was winning handily. However, 30 seconds of post-game handshake line footage dominated the news cycle for 3 days in a row, revealing something important about the current state of women's basketball. There is a lot of attention. In contrast to ordinary sports programming, viewers find the stakes to be extremely personal. And because their relationship has developed into one of the main tales of sports, every encounter between these two players is scrutinized. The reason for this dynamic is that both provide tremendously captivating but entirely distinct aspects of the game and its culture. To be honest, the video showed Clark moving down the line while re-extended her hand, and Clark turned before he could reach her. From a purely visual perspective, this seemed like a snub that carried, as others have put it, extremely calculated energy. Regardless of the underlying motive, turning away before reaching the person right in front of you when you're shaking hands, and their hand is clearly extended signals anything specific. H is just the truth. The 32-second clip looked precisely like the headline stated, music, and pretending otherwise serves no purpose. The optics were bad, and there was no way to frame it such that it resembled a friendly, cooperative team interaction.
But it's just checked in a few seconds ago. Caitlin Clark to Angel Reese. What a connection! Angel can't.
Being that thing and looking like it are fundamentally different. Thus, the discussion needs to be more honest than most social media coverage was able to offer. The clip showed one moment, 30 seconds extracted from an entire game, an entire tournament, an entire professional relationship between two players who've competed in the same sport since college. Furthermore, a connection is not defined by a single instant. However, a single missed handshake doesn't always indicate how two individuals feel about one another. The very following game, when Team USA played Italy and Clark and Ree were unharmed, provided proof of this. Not merely putting up with one another, as teammates occasionally do when there is real underlying conflict, but genuinely making eye contact on the court communication, involvement in the same plays, and the type of glances exchanged between teammates who are aware of the goals of the offensive. Whatever everyone decided the Puerto Rico film demonstrated, the Italy game gave no hint, because it would have shown up in the Italy game through ball movement, body language during timeouts, and how they position themselves in relation to each other if there had been true animosity, the deep personal sort that doesn't go away overnight. In a competitive basketball setting, it is impossible to fake that stuff for 40 minutes. It was all undetectable. In the Puerto Rico game that led to the handshake video, Angel Reese spent parts of the game acting outside of her role by shielding the ball from Clark on rebounds. Music, instead of seeking the outlet right away, bringing the ball up the floor when Clark was right there to receive it, and attempting passes outside of her natural skill set. By a wide margin, that behavior was the more important narrative from that game and caused real friction in the offense. However, compared to the ball handling scenario, the handshake video garnered more attention because without any basketball context, anyone can watch the 30-second handshake clip and get it right away. To witness someone's hand being disregarded and feel an emotional response, you don't need to comprehend pick and rolls or the significance of outlet passes. Basketball media relies on whichever version of a story has the least amount of explanation, yet basketball decisions demand more context and attention to fully understand their significance. The explanation-demanding version is more significant since the ball-related incident in the Puerto Rico game directly affected offensive performance, whereas the handshake line incident affected how many views and accumulated clip. Because those are not comparable degrees of importance when it comes to what really counts in a basketball tournament. Let's take a brief look back at Clark's perspective. Was the handshake skip deliberate? As one of the most intelligent basketball players in the game, Clark is aware of her surroundings. Therefore, the answer is probably yes, at least in part. The type that makes judgments more quickly than most people can keep track of and processes the entire floor in real time. She was aware of Reese's location. When she saw the hand, she made the choice to turn around before arriving. Whether it was a deliberate statement or just a snap decision taken in a moment of competitive annoyance during a game where things hadn't gone as planned, only Clark is aware of the relationship between them. It's hard to think that she unintentionally failed to notice Angel Reese standing there in front of her with her hand extended, but does that really make it that big of a deal? And no, it's not a major issue. Rather, it's a genuine moment between two rivals who obviously have a complex dynamic. Professional sportsmen can have complex relationships with their teammates. Occasionally, the dynamics include observable moments of friction that are captured on video. Sometimes those moments are a true reflection of genuine tension, and other times they are a single poor day in a long-term, mostly productive working relationship. The fact that this specific incident prompted 3 days of social media coverage and fan-base conflict reveals more about the magnitude of the crowd watching these two athletes than it does about the seriousness of what transpired during that handshake line. Because it wouldn't exist outside of a few local sports accounts if two unidentified players did the same thing in the same game. It became a national topic of discussion because it involved Clark and Reese. The best thing that has happened to women's basketball in a long time is that audience. Those who are so passionate about the sport that they would take sides and dispute for days. Because conflict attracts attention, which in turn attracts viewers, which in turn attracts financial value, which in turn leads to greater contracts, facilities, coverage, and circumstances for each player in the league. Despite how draining they can be, even the fan-base fights are generating something beneficial in the background. When considering the Puerto Rico game as a whole, Clark's performance fell short of her high standards. Additionally, the missed high five from that game went viral on its own, which meant that two unconnected video clips from the same game were being examined concurrently as if they were relevant parts of a bigger narrative when in fact they weren't. In one difficult game, Clark didn't perform at her best. One player missed a handshake line in the other. However, algorithms are indifferent to subtlety. They are concerned concerning involvement. Additionally, both clips generated levels of engagement, demonstrating once more that everything Caitlin Clark does, whether it's a good performance, an average performance, the logo 3, a missed high five, or a snubbed handshake, generates content because the audience is so large and engaged, not because people are trying to cause trouble. More effectively than any amount of social media comments, the Italy game ended the Puerto Rico crisis. Reese played her part, Clark performed well, the team, music prevailed, and they were clearly getting along. In other words, whatever transpired in that handshake line on Thursday was resolved, modified, and moved beyond by Saturday, which is what professional athletes compete, have moments, and then go back to their jobs. The athletes have already moved on, but the fan bases are still fighting. In professional sports in the age of social media, a single missed handshake caused 3 days of online pandemonium before both players appeared perfectly fine together at the next game. If you believe that the entire issue was exaggerated, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and provide your honest opinion in the comment section regarding whether or not this was a real disc.